Are we in a simulation? Is a dog in a doghouse being controlled? What is a simulation? A simulation is just a programmable, controllable environment where you can dictate what goes on in that environment. The architect of that environment gets to implement whatever they want to. Look at this. I mean, the truth is in the fabric of what a simulation is. The truth is in the fabric of. The truth is in plain sight. Look at that film, or excuse me, look at that video game, The Sims, right? What is Sims? It's just short for simulation. The simulations, right? That's all that is you're creating your own environment. That's what a simulation is. It's a created environment implemented through control, through manipulation of whatever goes on in that environment. You can do that. I mean, that's doable, right? You can program an environment to do what you want it to do. So in that sense, absolutely, we're in a simulation. Absolutely, we're in a simulation. But it's not, where people get it wrong is, it's not that we're in a simulation by some celestial being or some outer being. I don't believe that. I believe, well, you could look at it, you could say we're in a simulation within a simulation, right? Because essentially the universe is a sort of simulation. The difference is that when you look at the way the universe was created, as from the perspective of a simulation, there is manipulation, but it's not the way you would think, right? You could argue that we are in a manipulated simulation, in the sense that it is a controlled environment with certain triggers, right? Certain things that cause you to go a certain direction. But the difference is that there's choice. That's from a celestial simulation perspective. There's choice. We have choice in that perspective, and many people deny the existence of a celestial being, right? But I don't. So when I say we're in a simulation within a simulation, that's what I mean, is that there's the organic original simulation, which is based on free will, based on love, based on, what is love? Love isn't force. You don't force someone to love you. If someone loves you, they do it out of their free will. So that's a type of simulation. And yes, there are certain triggers, right? That but it depends on the person, because certain triggers can cause people to go either way again. But when I say simulation within a simulation, what I mean is that we are in a simulation. So we're in a simulation not only from the celestial being, but from the earthly beings, human beings. We are in a simulation from human beings, meaning our environment is programmable. Our environment is programmable. It's called social engineering. Social engineering, cultural engineering, personal engineering, all part and parcel of the same, the same triggers, right? Let me put it this way, as an example, right? You have the choice between Coca-Cola and Pepsi. That's the illusion of choice. They're the same thing. No, they don't taste the exact same, but they're the same thing, right? They're the same thing with a choice. Democrats, Republicans, same thing. McDonald's or Burger King, same thing, right? It's the illusion of choice. It's red versus blue, right? They're the same thing. They're just a different color. Get it? So we are in a simulation because where's the third option? Where's the completely different concept? Well, I don't want McDonald's. I want to go home and eat my food, or I want to cook my own burger, right? They don't want you to cook your own burger. They want you to either eat McDonald's or Burger King. So they give you these dueling options, which are really just the same thing. The same people behind the scenes own the same thing, right? But they make you think it's different. That's called the illusion of choice. That's the matrix. We're in this matrix that is simulated. You can watch football, or you can watch basketball, or you can watch baseball. They're giving you choices, but it's the same thing. It's all still sports. You see, you are being programmed in the matrix, in the simulation, to like certain things, to go a certain way. There are triggers that cause you to go certain ways, choose certain things. So we are in a simulation. Absolutely. We're in a controlled environment. And to some extent, it can be programmable by us. So you could escape the matrix. You can escape the simulation by making your own simulation, right? By programming and engineering and curating your own path. That's how you can, the way to escape someone else's simulation is to make your own simulation. So the way to escape the matrix environment is to make a new environment, create your own. That's the goal, that's the plan. Now, can everybody do that? It's difficult. It's like writing code. You got to learn how to write the code. You go in and you rewrite a program. You rewrite the simulation. Okay? And that's essentially what Neo did in the Matrix. Was he rewrote the simulation. He reprogrammed. He just figured he learned code. Now, of course, it was all supernatural, because apparently he had this innate ability to do that already, because he was the one, he's the Christ figure, he's the savior, whatever, which is a movie. It's fantastical. It's supposed to be fantastical because it's a movie. We don't know how he knew all that, whatever. But, and then, of course, they gave him a little bit of training or whatever, but that's not, some people, it takes 40, 50 years to rewrite their own simulation, right? It's the same thing within our brain. We have these synapses, and you can rewrite your synapses. You can rewrite the way your brain thinks and the way your brain is programmed, and you can reprogram yourself to change. This is how people change. A lot of it is just rewriting your brain's, how your brain functions, a lot of it has to do with habits. A lot of it has to do with consistency and things you do over and over, repetition. You're rewriting synapses, okay? So this is, in a sense, our brains are computers. Our brains are programmable. But earlier I used the analogy of a dog in a doghouse, meaning the dog can't become a human. And the doghouse is what he's placed in. Now he can escape the doghouse. Then he's got to rewrite his own. He can leave the yard and run away from the master, but then he's got to fend for himself and figure, right. It might be a somewhat short analogy because we're not dogs, obviously, and we can attain our own autonomy. But it's difficult because, again, we're in this design. Right? We're in this house that bricklayers built, okay? We're in this enclosed environment that is programmed, socially engineered for us to do certain things, for us to go down certain paths. To be free, to be truly free, you got to find your own path, and that's not everyone makes it. Not everyone can do that. It's not possible necessarily for everyone. It's not supposed to be possible. The system isn't set up that way. It's set up to make you a cog in the wheel, unfortunately, because that's just the way the system runs. That's the way the matrix works. Okay? So yes, in that sense, we're absolutely in a simulation, right? And we've accepted this simulation as normal. We've accepted paying taxes. We've accepted going to college. We've accepted the 9-to-5 concept. We've accepted a certain wage, a minimum wage. We've accepted that we have to have licenses for this, and they make sense. Many of it's good. Many of it makes sense, right? But it's controllable. You're being controlled, so so it is a simulation. It's a game. It's a board game. It's a big game, and there are people who laid out this game for us to play on, the game of life, right? Yeah, it really is that simple. It really is just like that. That's what it is, you know. And you can escape the matrix. You can make your, rewrite your own simulation, rewrite your own path. But it's difficult. You got to learn how to code, right? Learn how to code. That's what I would say. Learn how to code. You know. And at the end of the day, we've got 80, 100 years, and then what? Right? Prepare for the next simulation. Prepare for whatever comes after that, so to speak. What is true freedom? Will we ever find it? True freedom would be, in my humble, quick estimation, is independence from everything. True freedom would be independence from all the things that cause people to be enslaved, that cause people to be components of someone else's key phrase, someone else's simulation, right? If you make your own simulation, then you're truly free because you are your own master, right? But eventually we got to die. Eventually we have to come under the power of death, because that's the way everything is designed. That's the way the universe is. That's the way our biology is. Or you could say that's the simulation. That's part of the simulation, is eventually you die. So I would say that is a celestial programming, simulation. Meaning someone else decided that, who's much more powerful than us. We can't design a soul. We can't place a soul in a body, in embryo, right? All we can do is sort of hold on for the ride and do our best as we're navigating this experience or this simulation, right? And because that's all we know. There's nothing else. There's no living forever in this body. Everybody dies. We know that. It's provable, right? But does our soul die? That's not provable, right? What happens to our soul? The soul is not, you are not the body. You are not your mind. You are not your body. You are not your physical components. We're deeper than that. We have an essence. Man is an essence, a soul. So what happens to that? Where does that go? Well, it goes to the next simulation or the next environment. It's all a grand design, right? It's a grand design within a grand design. There's the celestial design, and then there's the human design. It's very simple, really. It really is very simple, but people complicate it. And this is why a lot of times people look away. Is there aliens? Maybe there's some other... Because you get into this fantastical thinking where, like, oh, maybe there's other simulations where things are better, or I have more control, or I'm powerful, or I'll be a god. Well, that's that's dreaming. You're dreaming. It's fantastical thinking. That's it'd be nice, sure. Maybe these things in dreams could work, or fantasies or whatever, or lore or books, etc. Right? But that's just you know spinning your mental wheels, which whatever. That's just entertainment. Cold hard reality is we know there's a universe, we know there's an earth, we know we're the only ones in the universe so far. You can argue that till the cows come home. Who cares, right? We know we die, we know we're a soul. Now you can argue, it's a better argument is, are we really a soul, are we really eternal? Okay, that's a decent argument. At least that's better than aliens and other universes and other, what is it, other timelines or whatever it's called. You know, other dimensions. In another dimension, I'm a cat. In another dimension, I'm this, right? Parallel universe or whatever crap. Like that's just science fiction, right? That's fiction. It's made up, right? The reality is there's a universe. Okay, yeah, we don't know what's out there, but we're not supposed to know. If we were supposed to know, we'd know. Let's put it that way. Again, it's just you're just spinning your wheels with anything else. The reality is, right, is we can see what we are. We can see the simulation. We're living in the simulation, and we have to deal accordingly. That's just how life often works. You just deal accordingly. If there's snow on your car, you wipe the snow off. It's just practical. That's how life. That's how the simulation is part of how the simulation works. When a leaf falls off of a tree, you know, that means it's fall. It's just how things work, right? So it's common sense. It's simpler than people make it. There's really nothing too fantastical or too crazy about saying we live in a simulation. It's actually it's not complex at all. It's very cut and dry. It's like, yes, we do, obviously, because we have an environment that is curated for human life, for what we are. Okay, so that's a simulation. Sorry, it's programmable. It's just a program. That's all. Could it be different? Absolutely. There are different programs. You could argue there's a type of international program, and then you could say that each country has their simulation. This is how they run their culture or their government or their whatever politics, whatever. This is how they do it. This is how they do it. These are different simulations, and it's part of a larger simulation. So there's simulations within simulations within simulations, and then how you run your family might be a type of simulation. So it's just programming, right? It's just code. You go to one website, there's certain type of code. You go to another website, there's certain type of code. These are just metaphors for life. It's actually very simple. And where people go wrong is they don't take a practical look at it. They don't take a pragmatic look at it. They take a kind of abstract look at it. No, you don't have to do all that, because that's just dreaming. That's just, that's just fantastical thinking. No, it's pragmatic. Part of the simulation is you got to get money. Okay, how do I do that? I go do this. It's like you just do what the program is. It's like a video game, right? The player can only do certain things that's already programmed. So you got to program the video game however you want it to work. It's the same thing with life. It's just there's limitations, there's rules, there's setbacks, there's challenges, right? So yeah, man, pretty simple concept, honestly. It's just people make it sound like it's more complex than it really is. Yeah, we're in a simulation. Yeah. A kind of simulation, yes. And you can break out of the simulation. There's nothing more to it than that, because anybody can quit their job tomorrow. What is keeping you from doing that? Your will. your will to survive, your will that says I can only survive on this job. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. You've never broken out of the simulation. You've never broken out of the programming. So yeah, you are stuck in that simulation. But that doesn't mean that simulation has power over you. It only has power over you insofar as you allow it to, insofar as you agree with your free will to come under the power and limitations of whatever simulation you're in. Many people don't. They choose not to. They go be homeless, or they beat the system somehow. They beat the simulation. They go by starting their own simulation. So yes, it's possible, absolutely, to break out of the matrix one way or the other, whether physically, monetarily, economically, or spiritually. You can spiritually break out of the matrix. I did. When I became born again, when I became a born again Christian, I broke out of the matrix, the world simulation. I don't want anything to do with it. I still got to eat though. I still got to, physically I might have to play by the rules. Got to make money. Got to do this. Got to take care of, licenses and insurance and all these things. Right? These are parts of this, parts of the simulation. But spiritually, my heart is with God. Spiritually, my spirit is with God. Right? Because I became a Christian, so I'm spiritually not an adherent to this evil system, because I believe it's evil, right? I believe it's neutral evil. I shouldn't say neutral. It can be neutral, but it's ultimately evil because it's run by men who are parasitically, siphoning the energy of others, which results in monetary gain for them or more power or whatever that, because that's the way the system, and people trying to break out of that by, let's do communism, or let's do socialism, or let's go start a hippie encampment and make our own society and whatever, right? However people try to break out of that simulation, but that's what it is. So that's all, man. It's not complex. Really isn't that complex. It's pretty simple. It's just a video game, man. It's just a video game is programmable. However the video game is programmed is how the game is going to play out. However the video game is programmed is how the it's how the character that you are is going to go about doing things. The good news is that you are your own character. So you can change. You could beat the game, and also you can get out of the game, right? This is why I say people, this is why people say, oh, I want to be totally free from any restraint. This is why people want to be rich ultimately, is because they want to break out of the system. They want to break out of the simulation, because money equals freedom. It's not that money equals power per se, or money equals materialism per se. Yes, people want those things, but ultimately money is freedom. Money means I don't have to go be a slave. Money means I don't, right? So this is why people worship money. But true freedom really is the spiritual freedom, I believe. Because ultimately you're going to get sucked back in one way or the other. Ultimately you can never leave the simulation. You're always going to need money. You can very much escape it to some good degree, but you're always going to have to, you're probably still going to have to pay taxes, whether it's property taxes or whatever. If you buy land, get off the grid or whatever, you're probably still going to be paying taxes to the government in one way or the other. So you're never really totally free, but you're a lot more free than most people. You can reach that. I believe you can escape the simulation spiritually, and and a good chunk of it you can do physically and monetarily, but ultimately, it's all around us. We're on the earth, we're in cities, or we're in the jurisdiction of a country, right? So, maybe you can go live on an island that's unincorporated, and like Robinson Crusoe, and you could just live off the land and be free that way. Possibly, possibly. But I think I said enough. I think you get my point. Appreciate you listening. Jay Lee, Northwest Podcast. Peace.